Nocticula here, another entry for my Asexuality in Film series. I'm not gonna, I can't say which part this is because I'm gonna film a bunch of these and then publish them in some order or another that I haven't decided on yet. But in this video, I will be talking about the Hitman franchise, specifically the movies, and this book. So I haven't played any of the games. I haven't watched any like game movies or let's plays or anything about the the actual Hitman games, because I'm not really sure they are for me. Because like after I read this one, Hitman Damnation, which is a prequel to the game Hitman Absolution, I thought I'm gonna try to check out that game. And it starts with Hitman murdering a naked woman in the shower. So I'm not really sure if the games are actually for me. But Hitman in other media, in this, I love it. So let's start with Hitman from 2007, directed by Xavier Gens, written by Skip Woods. Apparently I have the unrated version, which means that there's like 63 minutes, like a minute more of violence. So the storyline in this one is he's supposed to be murdering the Russian president, and he thinks he gets him, I think, but then they bring in a lookalike or a clone or something, and he's trying to figure out what is going on, and in order to figure that out, he has to he needs the help of Nika, played by Olga Kurylenko, who is a sex worker. So they travel around Europe trying to figure out what exactly is going on, like why his why his assassination failed, and like what is going on. And I will say, Timothy Olyphant doesn't really pull off being bald to me. So that kind of makes it feel slightly awkward to see him in the role, in that Hitman look. And also he is a more, I would say he's a more human version, more like an awkward person who also kind of doesn't have feelings but kind of does, version of the character. I actually think I saw this second. I think I saw the first movie first, and I really like that portrayal. So his portrayal is a bit. It doesn't feel. I don't like it quite as much, but I still enjoy this movie. He gets to have a bunch of ace moments because people hit on him, or he just, for some reason, he like reads a magazine about sex. Like not a sex magazine, but like in some magazine there's an article about sex that he's pretending to read or something. And then Nika has a really funny line, because like at first he talks, oh, I need to kill her, I need to kill Nika, and then he's like, oh no I don't, because I need her. And then Nika's kind of like hitting on him, or like, why don't you want to fuck me? And then she's like, you don't want to fuck me, you don't want to kill me. I've never felt such level of indifference in my entire life. I really like that line. And like he's very ace version. This is very ace version of this. I would say the second movie is kind of like an arrow version, but I'm gonna get that back to it. But because like in this one, like he's confronted by sex a couple of times, and he's like, ooh, not for me. So much so that when Nika is really trying to have sex with him towards the end of the movie, he's like, nope, and he tranks her. It's like, yeah, it's kind of funny. But it's kind of annoying that they kind of try to bring a bit of a romantic tension between him and Nika in the end. Like, it's like, oh, did he fall in love with her? Did he not? But he can't be with her because, like, it's not good for her and something like that. Like, it's one of those weird things that lots of action movies that like just almost randomly put on some kind of romantic interest there or romantic plot line in towards the end, and they're kind of doing that with this one, which doesn't really work. But this is mostly fun, and I don't remember anything about the plot or why anything is happening, or why does things go the way they go. But it's a fun movie. It seems, according to IMDb, this is quite well liked, much more liked than this one. Hitman Agent 47, directed by Alexander Bach and co-written Skip Woods, like the first movie. This time the main lead is Hitman is played by Rupert Friend, who looks very good as a bald man. So that's he really looks like and seems to embody the Hitman look, which that was enjoyable. And it's also about Katja von Dies, aka 90 in French. So she's like much better, like more developed version of the agent program. And what I especially enjoy about this movie is that instead of trying to put any kind of romance plotline into this, and in fact they are talking about like, oh, the agent, like, they don't feel love, and it's been like programmed out of them and all that stuff, but they still like really, they managed to really well portray their sibling relationship, because like essentially they have the same father, because like Katja's father raised her near the agent program or whatever, and he's created the agent program. So basically they also kind of met as children, so basically they have this connection, and that instead of like in many places they would create a romance out of it, but they are basically rated as siblings. Not even basically, it's said there like explicitly, like, hey, at least I think I did actually give you a family with your brother. So I really enjoy the way the sibling relationship develops and how they start to trust each other. And I also find this this is very dry and like low-key funny, and I really enjoyed Robert Friend's portrayal of Hitman, of 47. He's like I said, the Elephant's version was a rather awkward human version. He's a more inhuman version, like more dehumanized version, but it's also really funny, and you can still, despite his like very blank demeanor and everything, you can see that he actually does care. He cares about finding Katja's father, and he very much does care about Katja, and they end up being like murder siblings, and I really love it. I very much enjoy that, and this one. And if you want a romance-free action movie, I can recommend this one. I think I saw this one before I saw the Timothy Oliphant one, and so like this is basically how I view Agent 47. This kind of more internalized, someone who has more internalized feelings. He doesn't have as many ace moments here, but like I said, it's more like, does he feel love or not, or what kind of love does he feel or not? And he does feel, he loves his sister, and I love it. It's a lot of fun. And finally, I do want to talk about this book, because I really love this book. Like last year, unfortunately, I was rather disappointed with a lot of the ace stuff I was reading, and so this I can just okay, I've heard Hitman is ace, I like the movies, let's just check this out for fun. And I really enjoyed this. I think it was a lot of fun, and Agent 47 is very, very ace in this book, and in fact Asexuality is actually mentioned in this book, and it's weird. I read some meta, like, oh, it seemed like they are maybe hinting at him being ace, but they actually have the female lead of the book, Helen McAdams, actually says of his cover persona, Stanley, I think it's Stanley, something like that. I've heard that people can be asexual. Maybe he's asexual too. I think it was written in 2012. So that's great. And I do think he's very interestingly written in this one. He has a lot of, he thinks about a lot how he doesn't want sex or romance, how that makes him different, and but he does end up really much caring about Helen McAdams. But he never was in love with her, wants to have sex with her, even though she would have liked to have a relationship with him. But he's always struggling that line of like, okay, I like her, but I don't like her, and I don't know, kind of know how to deal with this. And like, you know, the plot is he has infiltrated her cult that has a presidential candidate. And like I will say, it was very weird reading this into post-Trump, considering everything that goes on in this book. But I very much enjoyed this, and if you want actually ace Hitman stuff, then I can recommend this. I thought this was a very fun read. Unfortunately, Hitman Absolution is probably not fun in the same way. Oh, and I have to say, Helen McAdams does get killed, like she gets Frage, which is a shame, but otherwise, I really enjoyed this one, and he is very ace, and also Arrow in this book, and I just like that. So that's it for this video. See you next time. Bye!